Welcome to Ideation on part 20 of SQL video series. I am Ganesh. In our previous video, we have discussed about the auto increment property. And in this video, we will discuss about how to use alter table command. If you look at this employee table, I have already populated the records. If you look at our previous videos, whenever there is a need to create constraints or to perform any modifications on the table structure, what we have done is, since it is for demo purpose, we have dropped the table and we have recreated it. I felt very easy with the scripts on my hand. So I dropped and recreated the table and populated the data. But in real time, you will have a lot of tables and data in your database. So you will not drop the table and recreate it every time. Whenever you find a need to add a constraint, or let's say add a column or modify a column, so what you will do is you will use the alter table command to achieve it. Let's say I have a requirement like this. I want to store the joining date of my employees in this employee table. So what I will do is, instead of dropping and recreating it, I will use this alter command and add a new column to it. So how will I do that? I can follow the syntax and write a query like this. Alter table, table name, my table name is employee. Add, so I'm adding a column over here. Joining is my column name. As I want to store the date information, I'm giving the data type as date. Let's execute this and see the result. Okay, commands completed successfully. Let's query this employee table and see. We could see the new column has been added. And the newly added joining field has all null values in it. So if you want to populate the values in the joining field, you can use the update command to populate it. Okay, so now we have added a column. Let's say I have a need to delete a column. I want to drop a column. So how I can do that? I can do this way. I have already written this query. So I'm going to alter this table employee and I want to perform the drop operation on column. What is the column? Joining is the column. So we can write like this. I'm selecting this query and executing it. Commands completed successfully. Let's run the select statement on this employee table. The newly added column joining has now been deleted. I'm refreshing this employee table and I'm expanding the columns. I have created this ID field as varchar. If suppose I want my ID field to store only 5 characters instead of 10 characters. If you look at here, it is varchar of 10, which means it can store up to 10 characters. But I want to change the ID field to store only maximum of 5 characters. So how I can achieve that? If I follow the syntax, I can write a query like this. Alter table, table name employee, alter column ID, varchar of 10. Okay, previously also we are having varchar of 10. So let me change this to varchar of 5. So I'm selecting this query, executing it, commands completed successfully. So what we have done so far is, we have changed the varchar of 10 to varchar of 5 for the ID field. Let's refresh this table and see. I'm refreshing it, expanding columns. We can clearly see ID field has varchar of 5 assigned. So far we have seen how to perform field level changes using this alter command. If suppose I want to add a constraint to this ID field. For some reason I have missed creating a constraint during the creation of a table. So now I want to add a constraint. How I can do that? I can use this syntax and write a query like this. Alter table, table name employee, add primary key, the field ID. I'm selecting this and executing it. Okay. It says cannot define primary key constraint in a nullable column in table employee. So what it tells is, it will not allow us to create primary key on a nullable field. If you remember in our previous video on primary key and foreign key constraints, we have discussed about what is a primary key and what are all the properties of a primary key. If you haven't watched that video, I suggest you to watch that video to understand this concept better. But to fix this error, we need to make this ID field as not null. So how we can do that? Alter table employee, alter column. Which column? ID is the column and varchar of 5. I'm adding not null to it. Let's execute this query. Commands completed successfully. Let's refresh this table and see whether it has reflected or not. We can see the ID field is now changed to not null. Now let's execute this query to add a primary key constraint on ID field. I'm executing it. Commands completed successfully. Let's refresh the table one more time. Okay. Now we could clearly see there is something mentioned as PK, which is primary key. This is how we can add a primary key constraint to an existing table without dropping it. That's all about this alter table. If you find this video useful, I suggest you to share this with your friends and colleagues. Closing it for now. Thank you.